Imagine you're in a meeting and you wanted to make a big ask. You need a decision on something, you need budget, you want to ask about adding to your team, and the answer comes back no. And you're so surprised you get really quiet. You get a little bit uncomfortable. You don't say anything. You leave the meeting, you just keep thinking about it. You keep thinking about it. And you wonder what they noticed. Well, I'll tell you what, they did notice. But people around you, whoever you asked, and the people in the room, they aren't remembering the ask. They're remembering your reaction to it. And that perception can stay with you a long time. Welcome to How to Get What You Want. This podcast is for driven women ready to claim their goals and navigate their careers with clarity and confidence. Join me as we explore real stories, tools, and strategies to help you steer your career exactly where you want to go. Let's get started on helping you get what you want. Hey, friend, welcome. This is Getting What You Want, and I'm Susie. I'm so glad you made the choice to be here today because I want you to get what you want. And you have to ask in order to get it. But when you don't anticipate that you might get something beyond a yes, it is imperative. Not because you shouldn't ask, you should always ask, but you need to plan for more than just the yes and move on. And it can get us really sideways. That's why this is so important. Sometimes people remember our reaction to something and not the question that we even asked, the ask that we asked. And we need to get ready for that response because that lingers. That can make a long time impression. Getting no is hard. It can be surprising, and surprise takes us off our stance. It makes us feel uncomfortable. And even getting that time back is critical. Just staying silent leaves an impression. No is not easy. And recognizing no is really important because a no can be, if only it was delivered like this. You want what? No, you can't have that. That would make it really easy for us to defend against. But no is delivered in so many different ways. There's so many aspects around no. And so understanding this, in order to get what you want, you have to be able to move through a no, even if it's a soft no. Well, we don't have budget for that right now. Oh, okay. And you got your answer. A soft no is still a no. And getting what you want means you need to move through that. And using a negotiator mindset is the key to that because every time you hear a no, that is practice that you can make that you need to use in formal negotiations. It's having that mindset around it because all great negotiators are ready. They prepare for any situation because they understand that they can't be left flat-footed. They can't be on their heels. They need to know what to do next. They need to be leaning in. And when we're surprised by something, when no comes and we're not ready for it, that puts us on our heels. In fact, research shows that when we get an unexpected response, a no, it's not just we feel bad. It's as if we were hurt physically. It's not that you're just imagining this. It's neuroscience. Our body feels the pain of the physical pain when we hear no, especially if it's unexpected. Research shows that. So don't take this lightly. It's not that you aren't practiced. It's that it's hard to hear. But there are things that you can do to shift your mindset around that so that you can be better if that happens. In fact, the research around negotiation is the person that prepares the most is most likely to get what they need. And the person that prepares is 20% more likely to be successful in the conversation. So when you're prepared for a no, when you're prepared for anything beyond a yes, that gives you that ability to stay on your toes, to be curious, to move through it, which is really essential. And there's leadership research that talks about how the perception that we give to people seeds the brand that we build. So those moments when we get quiet, when we get we react defensively, those are moments that people remember. And it has nothing to do with the ask. That can stand alone. That's why this is so important, because it's not just for the person in front of you, it's for the people around you that see that see how you react. So it's vital to be prepared so that you can respond in a way that's going to serve you in that moment. So you don't feel defensive. So you don't back away. And even that soft no, oh, I'd love to give that to you right now, but budgets are really tight. Let me get back to you on that. Those are things, maybe that person doesn't have the right to say yes in that moment. Those are things to get curious about, because that's a soft no. They're kind of kicking the can down the road. You want to make sure you understand what's the inhibitor for that. Why aren't they able to give you the answer that you need, or what is the next step? That's a soft no. They would rather you didn't come back to them. So to them kicking it down the road enables them not to answer, right? So that's a soft no. So being aware of that and understanding that no is not delivered in that really concise, no, you can't have that. That would make it a lot easier, because if we heard that, we'd be like, why not? Tell me more, because we would react to that. But these soft no's can be really difficult for us to respond to. The reason this came up is a client of mine told me about one of her leaders pretty high up in the organization. I'll call her Maya. And they were in a meeting with my leader. I'll call her Donna. And Maya was in the meeting. And Maya asked Donna for some resources that she needed. And Donna said no. And she probably, I would say, in looking back and knowing Donna, she probably was pretty direct about it, because she didn't ask well and she didn't have the backing for it. But the reaction was the thing that was really interesting. Maya got really quiet. Not only that, she turned off her camera. And later in the meeting, when she was called on, you could tell that she was upset. This is the thing that's crazy. This happened more than a year ago. And Donna still talks to me about it. Still talks about the fact that she knows that Maya has a hard time taking feet. It has bled into a lot of different things, a lot of different elements. And it has really stuck with Donna. And so I think about that impression, that perspective. And that was just Donna. Think about the other people that are in the room, what they learned. Yes, people learn about you. And that idea that Maya closed down, I talked to her peer, and that peer doesn't know that I have any context to this. And the peer told me that she's very reluctant to give feedback to Maya. That would be helpful to Maya. But she knows that Maya is not great with getting information that she doesn't want to hear. So it sticks with you. And I want to tell you the other side of the coin. My friend James, we were talking about this same scenario, and he got an unexpected no. And he said the thing that he's learned, it's almost like a trigger reaction, even when he's not prepared. And that's not going to be my advice to you today. But for him, it's a habit. When he hears no, he gets curious. Help me understand. So he has this question he can ask that allows him in those moments to kind of get his footing again. And he gets curious to understand why. And he said that has served him so many times, because being able to get your composure, he said, to be honest, in my head, I'm always going, what the heck? What's going on? Why are they not saying yes? What did I not present? He goes, I still have those same thoughts in my head, and it makes me nervous. But when I'm doing that, whatever I'm feeling, I'm able to get my composure back, because I throw it back into understanding them. And he said, sometimes it feels like more information. So a no feels so isolated, but when they give me context around it, it helps me understand so that I feel more comfortable with their answer. Because when it's unexpected, we take it as what we think it is. And you know what? People don't like to say no. We believe that it's easy for others to say no, but try to say no. Try to say no to somebody. Try that as a challenge. And you'll notice that it's hard. It's not easy, but yet we believe that it's easy for others to say no to us. Isn't that interesting? The psychological aspect of it. And so people don't like to say no. So they're more likely to say yes the next time because reciprocity is real. So when you think about that, and that's how negotiators think about it from a negotiator mindset, not the I got no, I'm never going to go back again, but end with curiosity. How can I understand more? How can I understand what it would take for them to say yes? So I'm going to give you some tips to think about because you want to make sure that you don't just allow no to be a dead end. No needs to be a place to start. You need to change that relationship with no. And honestly, you need to start thinking about no's around you. Are you getting them enough? If you're not hearing no, you're not asking enough. And you may need to recognize those soft no's at all. You may need to recognize those soft no's as well. So the first one I want you to think about, the first tip is always be prepared with more than just a yes. No matter what the situation is, go in thinking, what if I get a yes? What if I get a no? And what if I get a maybe? That is a sharp way to look through any situation. Even if you get a yes and you know it's going to be a yes, being prepared for those allows you to be more agile in the moment. And it doesn't put you off if you get a maybe or a no. And you can even recognize that because a maybe could be, that's a great idea. I need to go get approval on that. So it's a maybe. You don't know if they're going to come back. But when you're ready for those, you can say, okay, what time? When will you be able to get that to that person? Who is that person? What can I do to help you? So my friend, she's a client, Reagan, always said the three things she does, she's a sales executive, is prepare for yes, prepare for no, prepare for maybe. That's Reagan's rule. So you can use that in every situation, in every important ask, in your day-to-day now, because this is what it's like to practice a negotiator mindset in this week when you're going into meetings. How are you going to have those three things anticipated? Number two, it's what you do. It's that James idea. Don't get defensive, get curious. Create that habit. Be able to say, oh, I didn't expect this. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're thinking in this moment? Can you help me understand what's behind that? Even saying out loud, I didn't expect this. I really thought this would be an easy yes. Tell me more. Getting curious allows you to do two things. It allows you to get your footing again. And then it allows you to hear what's going to come next. What do they need to do? Who do they need to go with? Are they maybe even not the decision maker? Maybe you didn't realize that. So it allows you to get that path to a yes. And then you can ask those follow-up questions. How long do you think it'll take to find out about the budget? When can I circle back with you? Set that expectation. So the second one is to really think about getting curious, not defensive. And use James's rule. We used Reagan as the first one. James's rule is the default is always, oh, I didn't expect this. Tell me more. And then the third is really think about soft no's. Start to count no's around you and get prepared to push through them. Start to notice no's, even being able to go, oh, interesting. They just said no to me. It was disguised with all this other things around it, but I hear that. That was actually a no. They said that's not my decision because they said, I'll have to get back to you. Those are soft no's. So start to understand that no's come in a lot of different packages. And if you're not hearing them enough, if you don't see them anywhere around you, you're not asking enough. How can you ask for more? Get people to understand that it's important to you to ask. They respect you when you do. And let me tell you something. We are in patterns. And so sometimes when we anticipate that somebody's going to be reluctant or they're not going to be able to give us what we want, we don't ask. We negotiate with ourselves. So be really careful when you're looking for no's that you're anticipating that there's going to be a no and you don't even allow the ask to come out. So there's no for you to see as evidence around you. We anticipate things and negotiate with ourselves. That happens in our mind before we even get started. So make sure that's not happening to you. And remember, if you're not hearing no enough, you're not asking enough. So this is what I want you to do in the next 72 hours, because the research shows if you just listen to this, it's great entertainment. Good for you. But if you don't take something into action, this will just have been that. Just time that you spent listening to my voice. But I want you to have some impact for this. So what are you going to do? What ask can you do that you intend to get a no on? It could be a crazy ask. It could be you go to McDonald's and you ask for something that's not even on their menu. Or you ask them for, I'm just going to go crazy. You ask them for a order of uncooked fries. They probably can't give that to you. They'll probably have to say no. Start to listen for a no around you. An easy one might be if you have kids, asking them to go clean their room. See how many times or different ways that they can say no. Or with a peer, if you want to take over a meeting that they have run, ask them if you can do that. See if you can ask something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable and notice with intention that you want to get a no and see what happens. And maybe you'll get a yes. That would be really fun. I would love to hear about that. Is if you anticipate a no, just notice when you get a yes. Take action. You have 72 hours. That's only 3 days. What ask are you going to make? Maybe pause this right now and write it down. If you know somebody that you want to push to do this as well, bring them into the fold. Have them ask for something that they're intending to get a no and see what happens. Getting comfortable with no is imperative for leadership because you're going to get no's in the future. And you actually should be hearing no because that means you're challenging the status quo. That means you're asking for things your team needs. That means you're staying up with your peers and colleagues that are doing the same. Asking is a critical piece of being a good leader and knowing how to do it, but essentially knowing how to respond when you get it, even if it's unexpected. So think about what are you going to do to react differently? Get curious. Always go in, think about Reagan, ask those 3 things, always no, yes, no, maybe. When you think about James, how can, when you get a no, you allow yourself to say and get curious, oh, what's next? And then go out there and ask more. Try to get a no, see what happens. Share this with somebody that needs to hear it as well. This is a habit we all need to break. And it's something that we can add into our journey as becoming a better negotiator and in adopting that negotiator mindset, because it is a skill that we can build. And what happens is it allows us to get what we want. It really does. Until next time, I'm Susie. I'm glad you were here. I'll see you then.